Hi lovelies, and welcome back to my channel, and welcome to Spirituality Sunday, where we talk all topics spirituality. So today I thought it would be very kind of current for me to talk about spiritual transition. What is one, what are the signs, and how to kind of like deal with one if you're going through it. So I do hope you enjoy the video, and I do hope it helps. A spiritual transition is where you are evolving and moving to the next kind of chapter of your life. I have recently just been through one, and I think it'd be fair to say that when you're actually in it and you're going through it, it's really tough, it's really hard, it can feel quite painful, it can hurt, lots of tears, lots of emotion, all that kind of jazz, because you are literally outgrowing everything you once knew. And we will all go through spiritual transitions, whether you're spiritual or not and you recognize it as a transition. We will all spiritually transition in our lives many times, because as humans and as spirits we are forever evolving. But I can remember this transition, obviously, because I've just gone through it, but I can remember my last transition as well. And I remember in my last transition going to YouTube and Google, like, what is a spiritual transition? Because every time I forget, and then my spirit's like, you should know this. But I went to YouTube it and there's nothing there. And so I thought, do you know what? I need to sit and talk about this in case anyone else is going through one. And you need to know you're not crazy, you're not mad, it's normal. So the first things you'll kind of like begin to notice when you're going through a transition is that things that you used to love, you may not like anymore. So things you used to be very passionate about, you may begin to get very bored, you may begin to get very irritated with, you may begin to look at things and think, I don't know if I really like this anymore. Your beliefs, you may have strong beliefs on something and then all of a sudden you're like, hold on a minute, do I still believe that? Like, does that still align with me and who I am? Like, it's a real loss of identity. Spirit are saying, because they're downloading, they're giving me messages, they're saying it's like a snake which sheds its skin, and that's exactly what it is. We shed our skin. They also gave me a metaphor earlier of, like, when you spiritually evolve, so say you live in a house and each room has its own things. So say one room's your relationships, one room's your career, one room's your style and your fashion, one room's your hobbies and your interests. And you've packed those, during this chapter of your life, you've packed those rooms full of certain things. And then when you transition, you walk into those rooms and you're like, I hate that thing. I hate it. Like, what? I don't wear those clothes. I don't even know if I like this. And you begin to question everything. You begin to question your whole identity, your beliefs, your choices, your relationships, your friendships, everything. Everything, you will just lose your whole identity. And it's because this is the time now where you decide what needs to stay, what you don't need anymore. This chapter is now beginning to close. This is how we recognize the spiritual transition is happening, that we're evolving to another level, to a next chapter of our life. This is the time we assess what we need to take with us and what we don't. So Spirit kind of said, so now we look in the rooms and we think, I hate this, it's time to move. It's time to move house, it's time to move chapter, it's time to level up, it's time to change. But you won't get to that point until the very end of your transition. So depending on how long you fight it, is how long it will last. And in the beginning for me, I think I fought it for quite a while. Like, there were things I wasn't enjoying, just certain ways of doing things, certain hobbies, certain passions. But I was like, no, I have to do this because this is what I've been doing, and if I don't do it, this will happen. My mind was coming in and my ego, and I fought it, and it went on for way too long. And as soon as I just went, you know what, whatever, just let it go. I'm gonna be in this mood, I'm gonna be feeling not great, I'm gonna feel uncomfortable, because you are growing. You are gonna have those growing pains. When I just kind of let it happen and I stopped resisting it so much, because what we resist persists. When I stopped resisting it so much, that's it. Within about 2 days, I think, I was like, okay, so now I can start making new choices. But the longer you resist, the longer you're going to stay in transition, because it's happening whether you like it or not. And it's happening for your greater good. bear that in mind. So the longer you persist it, you know, the longer you resist it, sorry, it will persist. It's not going anywhere. So you have to roll with the punches. So now that you're in the transition, you're in these rooms, you're moping, you're thinking, I hate this wall colour, I hate these clothes, I hate this career I've chosen, I don't gel with any of the people I thought I gelled with, I don't believe any of the things, you know, you will seriously begin to question everything, because this is the time when we're packing up now, we're getting ready to move. Remember, we're getting ready to shift, we're getting ready to transition. So this is now where we're like, right, I need to just start deciding what I'm going to pack in my boxes and what I'm going to leave behind. And it can be really, even though like I'm coming out the other side of it now, so I'm on the other end of it now, and everything that I've transitioned through has been 100,000,000% for my good. But you have to realise that the beliefs you formed, you have thought were good up until this point. So you don't want to change them, because they've been, you know, your rock. This is your life that you've built. You don't want to change anything, because this is what's helped you so far. But Spirit are like, no, come on, we've got to go further, because life's a journey. You can't just stop stagnant, you know, we've got to keep moving. So, you know, now as we move, you know, through the transition, we've acknowledged it, we've acknowledged we don't like it, we've gone through the emotions, we've accepted it, we have acknowledged that we're transitioning now. Now we have to start deciding, okay, well, what needs to change? What can I take with me, and what do I need to leave behind? What can I start packing in these boxes, and what do I leave to be taken away, to the dump, to the trash, to the rubbish? You know, this is the bit that I said to myself, do you know what? If this is going to happen right now, because the last time I transitioned, I had been fighting a job I was in. Spirit had been saying to me internally for a long time, you need to get out, you need to get out, you need to get out. I didn't listen. It escalated to a situation where I had to leave. And I wasn't prepared to go through that again. I'd learned from my last time. So I was like, you know what? If things have to change, then I'm going to take this and make it something enjoyable. I'm going to make these creative changes. I'm going to start thinking about, well, who do I want to be in my next chapter? Because that's what this all is. All of these feelings, these signs, these signals, they are all coming internally. And even though they feel uncomfortable because they're uprooting you from what you know, they are signs to say, look, we're giving you a fresh start. What do you want to create? Like, it's actually a blessing. It's such a blessing. It does not feel like it at the time. It does not feel like it at the time. But when you get to the other end and you are now like, okay, so what do I actually want for my next chapter of my life? What steps do I need to now take? What can I take with me from this chapter? Things start to move. When you start to move with the transition, oh my goodness, things start to fall into place. So that's it really. A transition is a spiritual leveling up. It's a change of chapter in your life. It's a recreation of your identity. It's building a new foundation for yourself. It's letting go of old patterns, beliefs, things, relationships, choices that no longer serve you and no longer serve where you're going. It's that bridge from the past to your future. And when you're in it, I've personally always described transition as being in a river and having one foot on one rock and one foot on a forward rock, and you're going like this, like back and forth, like you're on like one of those, what are those things called? Sorry, my mind went completely blank there. In the UK we call them seesaws. So they're those things that you sit on and you're constantly like this, like scales. It's constantly, you're trying to find this balance of your new life, and your past will pull you and then your future will pull you, and it is really uncomfortable. You will feel pulled in different directions. You will feel very emotional because you're shedding, you're letting go, and anytime you let go you have to grieve. That's just a natural part of it. You will feel uncomfortable. It is going to be, you know, not the best feeling, but if you just go with it and know that this is for the best, when you get to the other side, it's so much better. Trust me. Trust me, and you begin to make choices that are for the person you are now, and you know, and you begin to make, it's funny, like certain things you used to believe about yourself, you're now challenging and you're questioning because you're growing. You know, that's what spiritual transition is, it's growth. And for some times in life, you know, it will be like this, you know, you'll be on a plain sailing because you're in that chapter and you're writing that chapter of your book. And then we come to the end of the chapter and now we have to create a new chapter, and that is just life. And it doesn't feel great when you're in it, but my goodness, if you just roll with it and let it happen, trust, have faith, you will be all the better for it when you get to the other side. Spiritual transition is a spiritual leveling up, a change of chapter, a new part of your life, recreating your identity, because there are even moments like, I mean down to the tiniest detail, like my style. I used to be like, I don't know what clothes I like to wear anymore. I couldn't make decisions. It was as if my whole personality had been uplifted from my body. It was like I couldn't make a decision because I just didn't know who I was. And that's how you will feel in the midst of a transition. You will feel lost. You will feel very, very lost. But the most beautiful thing about being lost is that you get to find yourself again. And when you do, you find yourself in a much better place. Whenever you uplift something, whenever you unroot something, it's always going to be uncomfortable because it's change. But if you just trust that we're moving towards something better, you'll reroot, you'll replant, and you'll regrow. And that's just how we do everything great in life, isn't it? We reassess, okay, how can we make this better? And you know, that's the same with us as spirits having human experiences. We need to continue to grow and evolve, and that means we have to transition. So I do hope this has been somewhat helpful. If you have any questions about spiritual transition, please leave them down in the comments below. I'd love to talk to you guys about it. And yeah, I will see you on Wednesday, hopefully, if you want to stick around. Every Wednesday on here is a Read the Room, where we read a specific event that has happened involving multiple people, celebrities, and we pick up on the events that's been going on there. And every Sunday on this channel is Spirituality Sunday, where we talk about a spiritual topic. I do hope you've enjoyed this, lovelies. If you are going through a spiritual transition, stick with it, flow with it, look after yourself while you're going through it, and you'll be okay. It will all be okay. I will see you soon for another video, lovelies. Take care. Bye.